Well, hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Bubba 649. My name is Bubba, name given to me by an old trucking buddy years ago, and he is dearly missed. And I carry this name in his honor. 69 was the number of my favorite truck I drove. First it was 428, then it was 469, but 649. Now that was my truck. Oof. But anyways, welcome to the show. We're going to get into something here today. U.S. farmer warns China is quietly taking over food security. Now, this is a big issue, ladies and gentlemen. Most of us don't understand, and I didn't quite understand this till I started looking into it. And it's a very serious problem. It goes on to say, this article is by Truth Press. You got some good news over there. You know, there's places where you can find the truth. You don't have to keep going back to the lying media and get those lies reinforced and believe in things that are not so. Anyways, people who call me a conspiracy theorist and all these other names, I've been called worse. Um, I'm not one to bite my tongue. I've learned over the years to start learning about what I thought I believed to be true, which was not, because I went along by what I was told from the media. And there's some things I'm going to be talking to you about on this channel, is how these things have worked and evolved over time, and how desperate those that are in control are getting. They're losing their grip on the human American minds. They're losing their grip. Their numbers are dwindling. The people are stepping up because their lies have been exposed and people are catching on. And for some of you, it's scary. But after you start learning a little bit, you're going to find out that it's pretty exciting. My buddy Roger, they gave me my nickname. He used to tell me, he says, we used to argue about, it was an argument. Me and him, we disagreed on things, but we had that old respect that, hey, we disagree, that's fine. That's part of being an American. Without that, you're just another citizen of the third world, but we're becoming that today. Now, hang on a second, I gotta have one of them things that they told me are so deadly, and I'm gonna tell you a little something here in a minute. I got out of the truck in 2019 because of health issues, and I was smoking 4 packs a day when I was driving the truck. You just reach up and, hey, you didn't think about it, you just grab a cigarette, and maybe you'd stop down the road, go in and grab a quick coffee and have a coffee, just another cigarette, and I get impatient. I was always hyperactive, high strung, or whatever you want to call it. So I was always moving and say, oh, there's the granddaughter, gotta go home. See you later, granddaughter. You turn off that TV and shut off that light, please. Awesome possum. See you tomorrow. Love you. Oh, she's a sweet little kid. Anyways, where was I? Oh, yeah. These things I found out over the years. I gave up on trying to tell people a long time ago that I was called a conspiracy nut, conspiracy wacko, you know. But let me tell you something, ladies and gentlemen. This world runs under conspiracies. There's always a conspiracy somewhere, somehow, some way going on. And why do I say that? Well, it's just been going on since the beginning of mankind. Somebody always wanted to be over everybody else. Somebody always wanted to be in charge. You know. Oh, look at you, even the animals, man. You have your alpha and you have your beta, right? Uh, I wish I could explain all this stuff in just a couple sentences, but it's really so widespread and diverse that people don't want to look because it's a job. You gotta get away from the cable TV for a minute, and the internet was probably one of the greatest things that we've had come our way in a long time. but we don't know how to use it. I mean, it's like with children, you know, we don't know how to play with these toys, trying to put a square peg in a round hole, you know. So most people don't, they can't get past Facebook or TikTok. They just can't. You know, they come up with all these things on TikTok and Facebook and Twitter, you know, which was controlled by the FBI for a long time. You know, they subverted the elections and cheated. You know, but nobody wanted to mention that. You know, no, you can't talk about that. Otherwise, you're going to be censored and docked. So I don't know how long I'm going to last over here at YouTube. I hope I can make it work. Maybe do just trailers about what I'm going to talk about, and give you a link to shoot over to channels where there is freedom of censorship. You know, where you can bring these issues to full light. I won't be able to carry a lot of them on YouTube, so check me out. I'll have a link for my other channels that you'll be able to find. That's why I'm happy that I got that thing from Facebook or YouTube today saying I can join the membership program, and that's what I've been waiting for. You used to have to get up to 1,000 subscribers, right? And then they dropped it to 500 here just a couple months ago, you know. And now I've got this, and I checked it out. Hey, I can join, you know, but I wanted to get a video out today because I haven't done anything in a while because my equipment was messing up, and that's, you know, why I'm trying so hard to get monetized is, and I'm not trying to, you know, suck you in or anything, yeah, but that's just where I'm going, you know. Uh, to, to back up my sources, I needed to be able to put the links in YouTube, you know, where you could say, this guy's nuts, he's not really doing it a very good job of explaining these things to us because he's an old truck driver and he just, you know, he can't shut his mouth. He just keeps rolling on and on, you know. So, you know, I'm going to help you out a little bit with that. So I know I can put the links in there, and that's going to make it so much interesting, you know, because then I can give credit to the, you know. Because I remember when I was in college, online college, was learning how to build websites, and I learned about that literacy, you know, where when like, authors when they write a book and you know, they have that little number there by one of the paragraphs or you know, whatever, of where they got their information from to give credit to the people that had the information out there in the first place. So it's kind of like a copyright thing, you know. It's a courtesy, you know, and so I'll be able to put them links, and even in my posts now, I'll be able to put links in my posts to my other channels and other stories and everything else. So it's going to take me a while to get it fine-tuned because I've been running on garbage. My computers are all second-hand rebuilds that I've gotten, and with my limited eyesight, which I'm so excited about, ladies and gentlemen, I went to get my glasses and my healthcare coordinator. I got that Blue Cross senior citizen program. That's pretty awesome, you know. And it's different from state to state, but I'm pretty well covered there. She said, "Hey Bob, you know, now you have light sensitivity because this right eye is longer than my left eye, so it makes me really, you know, bright lights. So I go outside in a bright sunny day, especially in the winter if there's snow on the ground. I'm totally blind. I can't see." You know, I got to put on these really, really dark sunglasses so I can even see. So my daughter and my wife, my three daughters, Dad, you shouldn't be driving. You don't need to be driving. You got to get rid of your motorcycle. Well, I got rid of my motorcycle. It ended up with my best friend. He's taking care of Gypsy. We'll be talking about Gypsy here now and then. Oh, that was my favorite bike. Man. I've only owned two real bikes of my own. The first bike I had was an old 1987 Heritage Softail, which I had to let go for financial reasons. Well, I'll get into that in another story. And this last one, Gypsy, man. My former boss, I drove for a company called Aubrey Transportation, and their transport, you know, and he was the best boss I ever worked for. I was like an owner-operator. I did whatever I wanted to do, take off as much time as I wanted to. You know, he never pressed me to get back to work like every other company. Oh, you only get a day and a half off for every 7 days you're out, Bob. No, I'll take out as long as I want. You know, I was a worker, man. I maybe 3 days tops. I'm ready to get back on the road, but I didn't always stay home all that long. But I spent so many hours behind that wheel and missed so much things with my family and stuff. Now I'm home. Well, even though with all these health issues, really, because I asked the Lord to find me a way to get home. I didn't think it was going to be because of medical reasons, you know. When that doctor, I went to see my wife in the hospital where she broke her wrist, and she's coming out of surgery there, pretty, you know, tweaked out from the meds, you know, anesthesia. And she starts crying, you know, and she's, what? I go, what? She goes, see, you never go to the doctor. You just let yourself go. You're going to die. You're going to kill yourself, and you don't give a shit, you know. I said, oh, man. Babe, I got to get back to work. I was planning on retiring from trucking with at the end of potato hauling season up here in Minnesota. Because I would have had enough money squirreled away to start my business out in my garage. I had computers to, I had scanners on my computers that the car dealers got, you know. And I could write reprogram computer ECMs and stuff, you know, in cars. Anyways, getting kind of off the beaten path, but this man right here says, you know, I'm just going to do a run through. I'm not going to read you the whole thing, but it says the Chinese, you know, despite lawmakers' success in introducing legislation to address the issue, one U.S. farmer raised a red flag that China is still infiltrating many acres in rural America. They're tapping into the American food structure in this country, and we should be looking at that as food security, people. That is so true. When you know, food is a weapon. You know, it's being used as a weapon today. You know, and we'll get into that along the line here with this adventure and Bubba 649, and I hope you join in and give me your info and your you know things that you found and comment and like and spread and all that good stuff, you know. But we're tapping into the American food structure in this country. You see, are you seeing where this is going? And we should be looking at all that as food security. National Black Farmers Association President John Boyd Jr. said on Cavuto on Fox, Cavuto Coast to Coast Tuesday, because they're tapping into American farms and tapping into the hog industry, and we're going to be covering a lot of that in this on this show. All these industries that China is quietly taking over here in the United States. U.S. Department of Agriculture data from 2021 indicates that China controls an estimated 383,000 acres of U.S. farmland, with their investments reportedly generating $1.9 billion. That would be American revenue going back into the American economy. And when you know, people don't understand when I say economy, I mean that's everybody. You know that goes to the truckers, the stores, you know, the people that make the stuff. You know, all the foods that's going on your table. It's all, you know, it's all money out of their operating system, right? And that money is not paid into our tax coffers. So, you know, the money in the piggy bank from the American people goes down and down and down. Eventually, you get to the bottom of the cookie jar. There's no more cookies. So what the government's way is make more cookies, right? Make more dollars. And when you make more dollars, it's like taking a pizza. Say you got 4 people at your house, right? Oh, wait a minute now. 4 more showed up. So now you got to chop each one of those quarters into, you know, a piece to make enough for everybody. That's how that works. That's why your buying power, you know, and it goes along with shrinkflation, where, you know, a candy bar used to be this big, but now it's this big, and it costs you more money than it was when it was this big. Man, people, man, America, we've had it so good for so long that everybody forgot what, you know, being American really is. Being American, it was where when things weren't right, anybody had the right to speak up. But you always had those people that would try to silence you, you know? And Old politicians get on the news and they promise you all this shit that they actually created, right? And now they want you to vote for them so they can save you from the problem that they caused. You follow me? And Thomas Jefferson said once, "Beware, if you ever limit ourselves to two parties, will be the end of America because one party would absorb the other." And that's what's happened, ladies and gentlemen. You got these rhinos that, they're in cahoots. The establishment, you got the establishment Republicans and you got the establishment Democrats, and they used to kind of work together. I mean, they got things going, but as the left started losing people, they got more desperate, more desperate. But all along the time, they put their people into offices, the bureaucrats that work inside the government that can't be fired. Once they're in office, they're in there for life, like a Supreme Court justice. So we got to, be very careful about that. These people, you cannot fire them. Just like the teachers union, that gives all that money that is given to them, that goes to the education departments, and so it goes back to their unions. They get that money back, right? That's a way of getting votes for. I'm not even going to have to say what party because you already know what I'm going to say. The whole fact is I can't. What I find so hard is why people keep following these idiots. And well, look at Biden. He's I actually feel bad for the man. What kind of, especially with his wife, what kind of wife would let her husband be used as a puppet in a pawn like they do with Biden? Yeah. I don't know, ladies and gentlemen. Build Back Better isn't working that way. It's working that better for the people that put all that money in the Democrats' campaign coffers to help get them elected. Because they get them elected, then they owe these people, so they got to they cave into them. You go back and look at all these videos through the years. You pick any politician and see how they've changed over the years, depending what the political waters were at the time. All right, so now, years ago, Biden said that he was totally against abortion. Now it's the woman's choice, and he was against gay marriage and all these other things, and he was against blacks because he didn't want his children to be raised in a racial jungle, as he said. But now, he's all for Black Lives Matter, which is it's nothing but a corrupt organization to the T. And what I'm excited about, ladies and gentlemen, is my black brothers and sisters have seen through it. You always got the holdouts that are never going to give up. They're never going to change their party, and they're never going to stop for the same idiots they keep putting in office, But what I like, ladies and gentlemen, I get called a racist, but I love seeing minorities go into office, right? And actually uphold the Constitution, like that Luna, Mexican American. And I hate using the names in front of there. I don't go around calling myself a European American. I'm an American, and I like where all these young black people are coming out and saying, I'm not an African American. I wasn't born in Africa. I'm an American. It doesn't matter what color it is. It's a mindset. It's a brothership and a sistership of just people. No labels. No labels. It's time to get rid of all these freaking labels, man. How many labels they got now? I mean, you think about it. I don't know what terminology. I'm starting to learn a little bit because you have these really good black commentators on YouTube, which I watch. They're some of my favorite commentators, and they woke up, man, and they're trying to wake up, the people, see, there you go with the race card again. Somehow that always comes back into play, even if you don't want it to. Somehow it always comes back into play. So people are going to say, hey, Bubba, man, you're using the race card here. You're using your white privilege. I ain't got no white privilege. I live in a trailer house, man. I'm a redneck, And being a redneck, I don't ask for anything. If I can't get it on my own, I don't know. I'm gonna have to try to figure out a different way of going about my business so that I can get what I want. And that usually comes from getting a job and building a career for yourself. Well, my career came to an end, so I'm trying to build this little side hustle here with my streaming channels. 'Cause originally, I was going to start out with my heat press back there and start making T-shirts and just sell stuff just to get enough cigarette money through the month and some gas money, go fishing, just the simple things in life, man. Me and my wife, we don't really go anywhere anymore because, you know, look at the way it is out in public today. I live in a smaller town and up in Minnesota, and pretty good people here. But there's still, I don't want to call it racism. It's prejudice. Because it's just ignorance. Because you end up being what you were raised to be. You know, unless you learn to use your mind for yourself. And I was always a rebel everywhere I went because I didn't do anything to be accepted in them little cliques. That's what we called them back in the day. I didn't do anything to get in there. I went sucking up to nobody, man. I didn't trust anybody. Because I went through some serious crap in my life where I trusted people and they really hurt me bad. And I'm lucky I survived. But it made me stronger. I didn't sit around and cry about it. And cry a victim. The only way you end up being a victim is if you let yourself become a victim. You ain't a victim from nothing, you know. And the reason why I say that is God. Okay, I'm gonna give the credit where credit is due. You got some of these psychologists and all these things. They're gonna tell you how to find your way through all these fears you have. God told you to be strong with me, right? Put on my armor so you can stand up against evil, right? There is evil. There's good and there's evil in this world. Even non Christians know that. Okay? There's good people and there's bad people. But who ends up in the influence? It's always the bad people because they want power. They want recognition. They want to be noticed. You remember back in high school where, well, these cliques I was talking about, you always had the ringleader, the one, in all the movies we watched where, the quarterback from the football team, everybody, oh, he's the hero, he's the quarterback. Well, I used to beat quarterbacks up when I was in school. Uh, the football coach wanted me to play because I was pretty rough and tough back in them days, but I had long hair down to almost my belt, and he wanted me to play football. I said, yeah, I want to play football. I love football, man. We used to play football everywhere I went. And but yeah, I cut your hair, Bob. Oh, I guess I don't. I can't play. He goes, oh, you really wanted on the team, man. Yeah, because he got upset at me beating up his football team members. Yeah, I'd just beat him up just to be mean. I'd me and a buddy of mine, we'd pick him up by the ankles and shake him upside down, and the chains would fall out. But usually, that little bag of weed would fall out, and we'd snatch that weed up and go out in the woods and smoke. So yeah, it was more humorous. But it was wrong. You know, yeah, it was wrong. I should have never done that. But I didn't know any better because I grew up in the streets in North Minneapolis, and hell, when we moved down to the cities there, I just went into kindergarten. I skipped school and I'd go down to the river and chase around the bums down there and steal their wine bottles from them and have them chase me. One caught me one time, beat the hell out of me at 5 years old. But I just always had this wand. I had to see what's around the next corner and over the next hill. And that's why I fell in love with trucking because I got out there. And the one thing I liked about trucking is I found the Lord out on the road because my brother died and my sister-in-law was murdered by her new boyfriend, which his name was Greg too. But he was so jealous of my brother because Rocky, with my sister-in-law, she was awesome, man. She had a laugh that was contagious. She just would, light the room up, and you'd be laughing, and you go, "Why am I laughing? I didn't even hear the joke." But you just look at Rocky, and she just made you laugh. And I loved her dearly, and shot her in the face, and then he shot himself, and I found out about this on the road, man. I was on my way down to, I think I was on my way down to New Mexico, and oh man, I just couldn't handle it. You know, the stress of being a long hair trucker and the wife at home dealing with all the issues. You know, the driveway getting plowed in because we lived out in the country. You know, and three wild daughters that were doing shit behind her back, and she's trying to keep the household going, and it was pretty tough on her. It was really tough on her. You know, and she had a job working a place where she helped start the first fetal alcohol syndrome program in the United States. And I was really proud of her because she worked for the Women's Coalition for Battered Women and stuff, and she worked for Head Start, helping uh, disadvantaged kids get in there and get a little bit of pre-education so they're ready for great, you know, going to school. And I was always touched by it, you know. Everybody, oh, that Bubba, man, he's just a hard ass. He don't give a shit about nothing. But I was a softie when it came to kids and animals, man, you know. And the weak. I don't know why, man, because I could beat the shit out of a guy four times my size if he was picking on a little guy. But then I'd get my ass kicked by this little guy. You know, it was a strange. I don't even know what the word is to explain it. You know, but and in this channel, I hope to. This is some of my goals. I'm just going on, and I'm not showing you videos and other clips, you know, and I'm kind of getting off track here with this, but I'm trying to explain and show you what the channel's going to be like here. Getting back to this story, he said, you know, the persons like myself who can maybe pay 4,000 or $5,000 an acre. Some of these farms are being run up to 15,000 and $20,000 an acre. Boy, Junior explained. How many American farmers that you know in the United States can't afford $20,000 an acre for a good farm ground? Because I can't. The fourth generation black farmer criticized the Biden administration for being asleep at the wheel. And we all know he's asleep at the wheel. He's not really running this country, and we all know that. Even those that voted for him, they know that. They'll play stupid, you know, and sit there with their little cocky smile like, hey, we got this, you know, we own you. Well, we're losing farms. This administration hasn't done anything to stop farm foreclosures in this country. Remember how he told us that he's for the farmers, he's for the truckers, he's for the union people, you know, he's for manufacturing, he's for the middle class. I don't see him doing anything for the middle class. I don't see him doing anything for farmers. I don't see anything being done for truckers because when I trucked for 25 years, we had to deal with all that Department of Transportation regulations and safety rules and all this, you know. And they never helped the trucker out. You know, everything they made with laws was about revenue, to raise revenue. You know, like lane restrictions and split speed limits, and yeah, you know, the trucking industry had weird crazies out there that did, you know, the old, uh, uh, you know, they took speed out there, you know, white crosses and stuff like that, you know, and I had gotten clean years ago, so I left that stuff alone. But yeah, accidents had happened, but you know, and I'm not blaming either the trucker or uh, the four wheeler. But when I first got out there back in '92 is when I went out on the road. I believe it was '91 or '92, and I seen just the stupidest shit going on, and it's still getting worse, ladies and gentlemen. But the thing that bugged me the most was that all these truckers that claim to be super truckers, and it's always the four wheeler that's screwing everybody up, or they were the ones causing more of the accidents. We had more stupid people driving a truck that shouldn't even never been close to a truck. And the reason why a lot of that happened is because they couldn't keep enough drivers. Turnover in the trucking industry was just, it was notorious. It was terrible, man. You couldn't keep a driver, because all these companies would screw you over. You know, well, You got to get that load there. I don't care if you're out of hours. Get that thing down there. Back in the day, you could only drive 10 when I first started, and you could get your 8 hour sleep break in with two breaks. You take a 4 hour break, then you drove another so many hours, and then you took a, before you went over that total of 14. Well, then you could drive for another 4 hours, right? So you had room to play with, right? And then they passed the laws with the new e-logs in there, where they know everywhere you're at, everywhere. They know when the truck's idling. They know they know exactly where you're at. They look up in the map and there you are. So then they started using that to push you even harder, you know. Then they came in with the new laws where you could only drive, well, you could drive an extra hour. Instead of 10, you could go to 11, right? But then you had to take these mandatory breaks through the day, you know. And before I had to put my e-log in there, I drove when I wasn't tired, even if I wasn't supposed to. I could change it. And all the DOT guys out at the chicken houses and highway patrol, they knew this shit. And the good ones would cut you slack. Or go down to the next place and, you know, get caught up on your logbook. But now with that timer in there, right, they'd push you to the max. They didn't want you to take that break, which was mandatory. So now you got to drive, right, when you're tired. You following me? So it never decreased the accident rates. And then you got old Pete Buttigieg that came into office. Man, I know I'm getting off subject here, but there's so many things we got to talk about, ladies and gentlemen. So many things that we need our own groups, just like the left have, where they got all these groups, for this, that, you got the LBGQ and you got God, there's so many of them I can't keep track. Black Lives Matter and you got, oh God, I got so many in my head I can't get them out. But we got some organizations on our side, but I made the mistake that I started being I was at home and I could do more working on the computers and stuff. I started signing up for these emails and where these politicians would write an email to everybody and they'd read it. And then I got I don't want to call it suckered in, but basically it is because it's always about money. You know, I wanted to be able to do this so I could fill out the polls and stuff. So I could be included into what's supposed to be the voice of Americans. But even that's a game on both sides, Democrat, Republican too, right? So oh, and it's my real name's Bob, so my surname is Robert. Robert, you've been picked. You're one of the top few picked from Donald Trump to take this survey and this and that, and oh, to get this badge. And I got so many cards with me being a member of the Republican Party that I just throw them up there. I don't even use them, but then right down there at the very end, when you click that poll, bam, that donation page come up there, and I'm on a limited income. If I had money, I probably would donate. But they don't need to be doing this shit no more to get elected. We got the internet. The internet can be used. We could have town meetings in all these towns around the country. These people, and what it should be made a law that they don't. Let's say you take two members from the Republican Party and two members from the Democratic Party, and they go to a certain town and do a debate there, and there's no moderator. Okay, so a moderator is just a spokesman for the party that they want to get in office if they paid attention. Okay, so you do away with that, and it'd be the American people. They'd have a big screen up there, right? And whoever got in line, I'm sure they abuse that too because they always find a way to cheat. And I'm not going to say one party over the other cheats, but you get my drift, right? You know what I'm talking about. So, but they could do something in that, where they can debate in front of the American people. You have it on YouTube, whatever. Everybody's got a cell phone. Everybody walks around all day watching YouTube videos and Facebook videos and stuff. So, you know, in this infant stage of this modern technology that's been around now for, now it's been, short 20 years, let's say, okay? That's when I first started streaming on YouTube. I had Bubba's Corners, and I live streamed my dash camera in my window, and I had people. I could look over my laptop on my passenger seat there in my stand, and I'd watch it, look over, and I see they're all talking. I had people from Australia and France and the United Kingdom and Spain. And I rather enjoyed it because when I got stuck in traffic, I could, or at the end of the day, they'd still be talking there, and I, hey, Bubba, how you doing? And I'd get into a conversation with them, and I made some friends over in England, and I kind of missed that. But the guy that had that stream was, it was called Justin TV, and I dug it, man. And then he sold the company to the people that started Twitch. I found him. He's back. He's back in the business on some other things. He says he wished he never sold Twitch because, or Justin TV, but it was a pretty good outfit. So I was doing all that stuff over there. Well, getting back to the thing here, say, hey, Bubba, I wish I could give you guys a pointer so you could say, hey, get back to the story. You were reading us that story. All right. Well, how come you don't read it yourself there? I got it on the page for you. Just kidding. I'm kind of a clown, so I hope you learn to deal with me. While yeah, oh yeah, while we are losing farms, this administration hasn't done anything to stop farm foreclosures in this country. And he said these for the average American. We need our farmers, man. Everybody thinks they make this huge profit and stuff. They don't. Everything's regulated by the government. Right? They don't get to, you know, set their price. They got to pay the price that the government's willing to pay these people. Okay, we have many of our members who are right now facing farm foreclosure, but we had $1 billion to help the Chinese farmers. Ain't that something? We're always helping everybody else but our own people. And that's why they hated Trump, because he was giving that stuff back to the people here. And the media convinced everybody that he was this lying orange man. He was a threat to society. He was a threat to democracy. But, ladies and gentlemen, America is not a democracy. It's a constitutional republic, which is superior to democracy, right? It's because in a constitutional republic, the majority doesn't have the rights to take away the rights of the few, of the minority. They don't have. That's what a constitutional republic was set up for. And most of us don't even know what the hell is in the Constitution. I didn't. I never studied it. I studied it a little bit. We had a little bit in school, but I've been trying to go through this book right here. I don't know if you can see it. I'm too lazy to get up, but it's the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. Everybody should read this book. And what I'm finding out is, I ain't just saying this picking on the Democrats. I'm sure that there's been Republicans that have violated the Constitution themselves, like Mitch McConnell, and Mitt Romney and Liz Cheney. And I'll show you that, and I'll show you where my proof is, and then you can elaborate on it. You can send emails. I haven't got my emails hooked up the way that I want them yet because I'm working on 5 different platforms plus building my own website. And I got this habit of putting too many pans on the fire, and I'm trying to keep track of them, because I want to get it all done at first. It's a habit I've never really been able to break. But they violate that Constitution. But anyways, I'm going to give you my email address. You can email me at Bubba, all lowercase now, Bubba 649. Oh wait, I'm giving you my channel. These medications make me goofy. You can you can email me at I'll send you to my one channel, my one email. Fable, all lowercase, Fabel, Robert at 99 at gmail.com. I hope somebody sends me an email because I want to know if I'm saying anything that you take value in. I would hope so because all these things I'm going to be talking about on this channel have got everything to do with your freedom, whether it's the left or the right. You know, if the left wins, all the little flunkies down the line, they're going to get pushed to the curb too. It's only going to be the ones that are in office and not be in office forever. You follow me? They think they're wealthy. Why do I got to go campaign every 4 years or every 2 years for Congress? You know, why do I got to do that? And it's a pain in the ass. I got to go out and talk and lie and keep a smile on my face to those little people. Because that's all you are. You're just little peasants to them. Look at how they treat them. Nancy Pelosi lets people in her city be treated. Thousands and thousands of homeless people. Shit everywhere on the street. And I mean literally human shit on the streets. You know, needles shooting up right across the street from the courthouse in San Francisco. And these people in the street, they go around and gather up these used needles and bring them in, exchange them in for new needles, and they get paid for it. Now they're putting up dispensaries where they can get needles and they can get Narcan and all the stuff. And it's coming out of your pocket. All these things come out of your pocket. People in California should be ashamed of themselves because I've seen that change uh, uh, 25 years ago when I started, well, 26 now. When I started driving, I went to California quite a bit, and I didn't much care for California. I liked the countryside, you know. When you got out of the big cities, it was nice, man, you know, and people were nice in these small towns and stuff, you know, just like anywhere, you know. But when you get into them big metropolitan cities that are all blue, you know, garbage is everywhere, you know, and it started back then, and I just didn't want to go out there anymore, you know. So I took a job with this last real owner that I worked for. His name was Sean, and he financed me with the money for Gypsy, my electric line that I had to let go 2.5 years ago. But I ran for him, and I went to California every week, and I just kept seeing it worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. You know, and a lot of people just walk right past them. Won't help them. Somebody could be dying right in front of them, and they'll just step right over them, and just keep on going. It's a sorry world we're becoming. But here we go. In May, Republicans and Democrats teamed up to introduce a bill that would block foreign adversaries like China from buying U.S. farmland, titled "The Protecting Americans Agricultural Land from Foreign Harm Act." DeSantis started that, and the left is running them into the ground about that or discriminating against them. But they did leave out the part about Bill Gates buying up tons and tons of farmland too. And the thing with him is that he is pushing us to get off of beef and meat. He's already he already had a plant in, I think it was Germany if I remember correctly. Had a plant there making artificial meat. Artificial meat. Yeah, they burned that to the ground, and I'm kind of glad too, man. You know, because it was about 8 years ago. I found out in Japan, scientists actually made a hamburger out of human shit. Somehow like soybean. You know, it's a plant, but you can make it, and you can give it all the flavors of meat. You know, and I ate one by accident one time. I mean, it wasn't really bad, but I really like it, you know. But then I ate a vegetable burger one time. Yeah. Yeah, you know, I've learned things over the years. Like I read books on health and doctors and health studies and stuff. I forget the actual name of that one book, and yeah, I never hang on to the author's name too. Once in a while I can. It's like when I read the Bible. You know, I know what it says. I've read so much of the Bible, but I can't memorize like a lot of these Christians do, where they can, you know, they'll give you what book, what chapter in that book, you know, what verse, what scripture number, and what line, and all that. I I just remember what I read, okay, and sometimes I don't explain it the way that I the best I can, but I try, okay. That's where you get to practice, I guess. But yeah. Okay, back to the story here, and I'll be done here in a minute. According to Congress legislative process tracker, a summary of a bill is still in progress and thus has not yet passed in either chamber to make its way onto the president's desk, which he'll he'll screw us over there again because China's got him in their back pocket. Uh, people don't want to believe that we have a president that colludes with China or Russia. Yeah, but Donald Trump was colluding and all that money and all that. What 4 years or whatever it was? They're pushing that agenda. Found out it wasn't real, but they keep going after that man. You keep going after him. I am a Trump fan. Okay, I respect the man because there ain't nobody else that could handle the pressure that he was put under. You know. He didn't have no handlers like Joe does. You watch Joe. Uh, I don't know if that was photoshopped or what, but they had that one video where he was walking to his helicopter and he goes, "Hey, my butt wipe," and I had to back that up about 10 times. Did he actually say that? I don't know, but the man's not fit for to be the president, and after all the corruption this man's been in, he should be in prison. But yet again, I feel sorry for the man because they're just using him up until they're done with him. Then they're going to throw him to the wolves. And it was Biden that did it. It was Biden that did it because the one that's really pulling the strings and running this country is the one that still controls him. And we all know who it is, right? Right? We all know who it is. It took me a minute to figure it out. I kind of had a feeling about that in the beginning, and I can't say it because I'll probably get knocked off the channel before I even get my tires on turning on here. So we'll have to let that one slide, and I'll try to sneak it into you in another video. But that's it for that one, ladies and gentlemen. One thing I liked, they always play this shit about rednecks and stuff, and it's backwater people fly over country. We're just dumb hillbillies and rednecks and this and that. But this man right here, I bet you I could sit down with that man and we could have coffee and we would be talking about the same thing, and we'd be feeling the same way about the same thing. Why do I say that? You say, Bubba? Oh, you know why? Because when I trekked over 25 years, I did a lot of deliveries down south too, and I grew up in North Minneapolis, and I seen the black migration come up to Minneapolis, no, God, that was back in the '60s, when people were migrating around the country for employment. That's how it works, and they came up here, and there was when you get two cultures of people butted up next to each other, you're always going to have conflict. That's a natural thing to happen. It's going to happen no matter how many politicians say they're going to change it. It's always going to happen. That's part of life, right? It's us learning from each other, and I saw that over my 25 years. Not just the 25 years, but before I even started trucking. I lived in a neighborhood was predominantly black. We were renting a house we were going to buy from a black owner, and it was a nice house, right? And it used to be it was a nice neighborhood. Okay, you had the main drag, Golden Valley Road, right? That was all public housing down there. And that's where all the shit was, right? Drug dealers standing out on the corners and stuff, because they hadn't infiltrated the whole neighborhood yet, like they have now. Okay, and it's not just blacks or Mexicans. You got your white gang players in there too. So, let's get rid of this, black this, white that crap, because it's going on amongst all the races. Okay, to me, I believe there's only one race, and that's the human race, right? And we were all one race at one time till God threw down confusion and people separated and went their own ways. Oh, that's just a bedtime story in the Bible, Bubba. Well, you might think so, but when you research as much as I have, you tend to find little loopholes, and I don't mean them as a loophole to get around something, but uh, where little pieces were missing that you found over here. You know, it's like putting a puzzle together. You start putting that didn't fit, so they put it over in another chapter. So, you know, right? Christianity is like to me uh, going from Israel, right? The Jewish people were God's chosen people. It's not that He loved them more than the rest of His children, and but I call it the stepchild syndrome, where the new stepchild moves into the family and gets treated like dirt because the ones that were there, they already had their pecking order in the family, if you follow what I'm saying. So that's a natural thing, but God made us to be creatures that would learn to get, he, he wanted us to learn to get along with one another, right? You know, you have people saying, "Oh, blacks are taking Christianity as uh, thing," and they're being corrupted. They're being lied to by the white race. And yeah, it's not so. We're all God's children, man. You know, the Native Americans got a saying, "All my relatives," meaning that we're all one people. We just have different divisions. Different um, just groups, right? Because we're all tribal people. The Native Americans had several tribes in this country. Oh, in Europe they had several tribes too. You had and clans. You know, it's just another word for tribe. You know, you had clans in Norway and Denmark and in England. And then you had these kings under power and united the whole going through the history of England, where he united all the kingdoms under one. Right. Well, I'm running this longer than I do. I forgot to put my time clock up, but if you don't like it, don't want to watch the whole thing, just save it for later. But I hope you like it. Give me a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button and share it with your friends. If you do that, we can be a community of nothing but American friends. God bless. God bless our troops. Good night.